there, Stampers. It's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Thanks for joining me today. I have another fun fold to share with you. Last week I had done the what I was calling the Twisted Trifold, which is where you looks like it's a portrait, and then as you open it, it goes into a landscape. And then I had said there's tons of variations on this fold, so I'm going to show you two more different versions of this kind of twisted trifold, twisted triangle. I mean, it gets called a variety of things. So the first one I'm going to show you is what's I'm calling it like a twist corner, because it's only, instead of having the entire thing open up automatically, you then have another trifold, kind of like a hidden door almost, that comes in. And this one, we're using the Designer Series paper as our card base, and then using this little cardstock kind of flap to kind of put it together. So that's going to be a version. We'll do this fold. So again, this is kind of the twist corner trifold. And then the other one I want to share, this one, I'm going to call it kind of like a triangle twist square, because this one again is a 4 by 12 inch piece of cardstock or two-tone cardstock, or you could use Designer Series paper. And this one, it's super easy. This one again, it just folds out, so it's going in portrait, and then it'll go into a landscape version. And this is a great one to use up your 6 by 6 Designer Series paper on it. So we're going to do two cards today, but I wanted to share with you a couple of samples. I haven't done a ton of samples yet, because I don't know, today the creativity was tough today. I don't know why. So again, I had shared with you this one, that again, this is that twist corner. And this one I'm using some of our new holiday items that are in the holiday mini catalog for 2025. This one is the Snowy Delight. And this one has a stamp set, it has dies, and then it also has your stencils to do it if you get the bundle. So I've got all of that here. And then the paper I'm using is actually the Pine. Oh my gosh, I can't remember what the name of this one is. And again, this is all in the holiday mini from Stampin' Up. Elegant Pine is the paper. And then if you can see, I'll show you. So this is the die cut. And again, I've kind of just done, there's that really pretty paper. And then this one, this is a specialty paper. So it's kind of like not as heavy as a cardstock, but it is kind of already dry embossed with the snowflakes. And that's in the mini catalog. And then I just stenciled on it, and I did some of the embossing paste on there to get a little bit of a glimmer. So that snowflake paper, again, it comes in 12 by 12 sheets, and it's all white, and it's got that little debossed and then embossed side. And this one is called, sorry, there's so many new things, I can't keep track. Silent Snowfall. And again, it's 12 by 12, and you're getting, I think there's like, oh, I can't read what it says. I don't have my cheaters on on it. But again, that's kind of all in that holiday mini. So again, this is kind of opening up, and then it's kind of showcasing that Designer Series paper. And then we have this flap open. And then again, I just did some two-tone cardstock just to keep it light, so it wasn't really heavy. And then I used up, we all got glitter that we've been collecting and hoarding. So I'm like, I'm going to start using some of my glitter. So I actually had die cut this onto a sticker sheet and then added the glitter, and it made it a lot easier. And then it doesn't really come off then either, which is kind of nice using those sticker sheets. And again, that kind of closes up. And then if you want, you can always just you can decorate this back panel. I just left it blank on there. So again, that is one version. And then we're going to be doing kind of a version of this one. And this is kind of using our new, this is an online exclusive. This is that friendly foliage. So there's dies. And then there is a stamp set that goes with it. So we're going to be doing that. And then I'm using the Floral Charm Designer Series paper, which is an online exclusive. And then the other new stamp set that I'm showcasing is that Lasting Linen, which is an online exclusive. So here on this one, so I've got my Lasting Linen, I've got my Designer Series paper here, my Friendly Foilage, and it's just kind of, that's my focal point. And again, you open it up, and then here's our flap. And again, you can decorate, you can leave this blank if you want, especially if depending on what your pattern paper is that you have. It's really busy, you don't, maybe you just want to showcase that. And then again, you've got space for your greeting and stuff. And I'm just using some of the die cuts from Branching Out, which is another online exclusive. Or no, this is, or is this in the holiday? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, it's current. But I did some of these layering nesting dies for that piece there. So this is another really popular set right now. All right, so that's that one. And then again, we're going to do another little one, a version of, I'll do something completely different, but we're going to do this fold as well. So for the Twist Corner Trifold, which we're going to start off with first, let me get some of this stuff out of the way. What you need and again, you can do for your base, if you want to do cardstock, you can totally do cardstock, but I'm trying to keep it light. And then also I'm trying to use up my Designer Series paper, because how many of us are hoarding all of our paper? And after I was on medical leave for 8 weeks for knee replacement surgery, I had gone through all of my paper and organized it. And I was like, okay, it's time to start using this and not keep buying and buying and buying. So your pattern paper, you're going to use the whole length of it. So it's 4 by 12. You're going to cut it down to 4 by 11, or I'm sorry, 4 1/4 by 11. That leftover piece is what gets attached here. So you're going to use up that whole quarter sheet of that Designer Series paper. So again, 4 1/4 by 11. We're going to cut it. We're going to use that 1 inch piece left over. And then you will need, for the part that flips out, the card. Now this, I do like to use cardstock just to give it a little bit of weight. This piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/8. And then we're going to score 3/4 of an inch on the one edge on that one. And then the rest of it really, you know, just have your cardstock, you know, scraps for depending on if you want. Where's my sample? You know, like here, you can either just write on this part of it, or if you want to do another layering piece with a die cut, you can totally do that, or cut a piece of paper down to it. But I just have, again, I'm using that Branching Out die cut, and I'm going to be doing something like that in the center. And then this piece, is this going to be for my stamped image? So I needed it to be 3 by 4, and that's just cardstock. So that's just kind of cutting it on it. But again, like, you can decorate this part however you want. But again, I kind of like having the die cut on there. Otherwise, this section here, if you wanted to layer a piece, you would need 3 1/4 by 4. Yeah. If you just want to do a straight layer cardstock. But again, I'm going to be kind of doing something different. I haven't quite figured out what we're going to do yet. Okay, so those are the pieces. So now let's go ahead and let's do our scoring. And I made a little template just to kind of show. So again, this is that Designer Series paper, which was 4 1/4 by 11. We're going to score at 5 1/2. Now on my paper trimmer, my ruler starts at the 1 inch and then it goes over to the left. So again, here's my 5 1/2, and then you're going to make a mark at 6 3/4, just a little mark, and then you are going to score from that mark down to the lower left-hand corner of the card, and then that becomes basically your top, the main part of the card. Okay, so on this one, I was going to flip it this time. I want my flower part to be this corner flap, and then I want that pretty peacock to be up here, so I'm kind of flipping it. So this is going to be on my inside. All right, so we're going to score at, actually we're going to do it this way. We're going to score at 5.5. And then we're just going to make a little mark here at 6 3/4. 6 3/4. And actually I might use a pencil because this pattern paper is a little bit harder to see my mark. So we'll do make a mark at 6 3/4. So there's my mark. That mark is going to go right into my line that I drew on my paper trimmer. And then I'm going to have my corner, if you can see this, my corner is actually lined up as well. So I'm just going to bring this down so I can see it. All right, and then we're going to score that down, diagonally down to the corner. All right, and then you'll just want to erase that pencil mark. All right, and then on our second piece, which is becoming that flap that comes out, again, this was 4 1/4 by 5 1/8, and we're just going to score at 3/4 of an inch on the one edge, and then we'll flip it over, because this flap goes here, and then this folds over like that. Okay, so again, on that long side, you're just making that score mark at 3/4 of an inch on that cardstock. Okay? All right, and then that is it for that. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little stamping before I assemble this. And then I'll show you how to fold it. Okay, so before we fold this, I want to stamp my linen background stamp. And since this is a big background stamp, I'm actually using the retired Stamparatus just because it's just easier for me to do it on these larger background stamps. So if you have like another stamping platform, you'll want to use that. Okay, so then, knowing that this is going to be kind of folded, and this basically is going to be attached, so you want to keep that flap on the right. So again, it's linen, so there's not really a pattern, or I mean like not a top and bottom, so it really doesn't matter. I just need to make sure that I got my stamp positioned so that I'm inking up all of the cardstock. And it looks like I'm getting all the way in there. All right, so this was Basic Beige, was my cardstock. I'm going to use Crumb Cake for my ink. And I'm just going to ink up this linen background. Now, if you don't have a stamping platform, again, you could put this on our large, acrylic block, and then put your cardstock on top of it. And then I always just use like a brayer or something just to press it, just so you're not pressing down with your hands, because I have arthritis, so for me it's a little bit harder to do it that way. But that's why I like using the old Stamparatus. Okay, so now that's all inked up, and then I can clean this really quick. All right, and while I have this out, so now that is going to become our little card that was here. And it just gets attached onto that designer series paper when we assemble it. So we're going to set that aside. But now I want to do the stamping on these. And I just found it was a little bit easier I'm just going to show you, let's see here. I gotta find my piece of paper. So I just needed like a 3x4 stamped image. And this is, again, that basic beige. We're going to take that off. Put our friendly foliage. Okay, and on this one, I believe I wanted to stamp it in. We're going to have the floral on the outside. So I think I want to stamp it. I want to stamp it in the Mossy Meadow. I'm just going to ink this up. And again, you don't need to use a Stamparatus for this, but since I already had it out, it would just it just made things easier. All right, we'll do a little bit, one more. There we go. That looks better. Just gonna wipe this off so I don't. Oh, sorry for the shaky camera there. Okay, so that is done for that part of the stamping. Get that out of the way. Okay, so for the die cutting, I do want to show you, so on the friendly foliage, there are, I'm going to show you the variations of how you can die cut this. So again, you've got this that would basically just die cut the entire outline image, which will give you this look, okay? Then, and you can do these together at the same time, which I'm going to show you, you then can take this piece and lay this on top, and again, you can die cut these together, and when you die cut this, you then get this look, okay? Then you can also not stamp it, but do this same thing, but not stamping it, and you would get this look. So it's kind of fun. And then the other thing, which I thought was kind of cool, is on these stamps, so there's this stamp and then this die, these go, they match right up with a few of these, like that. So you can do something like that too, which is kind of fun. You can layer those other pieces on there. So yeah, it's kind of a nice, it's a little variety. This would be kind of great for like a shaker card too. So we're going to go ahead, let's die cut this. And this set, it does fit into our little, our mini Stampin' Cut. And then again, you also get, you know, if you want to just have like a background, you can just die cut just using this. And then you get your solid paste that you can always layer behind. So there's lots of, I love it because there's quite a few different options that you can do with this die set, which I thought was kind of fun. Okay, so let's get this lined up first. So I find it's easier to do, line up your outline one first. You want to make sure. And then I'm going to use some low tack tape, kind of hold that in place. And then this piece, we'll layer this right on top. And that looks good. And then again, just use some low tack tape. And on this, I'm going to use my #1 platform. And then I just have a, my cutting mat is like this magic mat. I just like it because it doesn't, it cuts and cuts and cuts, and you don't have to, it doesn't wear out as easy as some of the plastic ones. And then that, and then a cutting mat on top of it. And then we'll just crank this through. And then that part is done. And then you've got that. Fun! I love it. So cute. So again, I love, it's just a great little stamp set. And then these, of course, you can just kind of poke these out. Get those extra pieces. I'll deal with that later. All right. So now let's go ahead and start to assemble this. Set this aside for now. Okay, so bringing in our designer series paper. So again, this one we had scored it at 5.5. That's going to become our valley fold. So again, I want my flower. I gotta stop and think here. Yes, I want. Yeah, I want it going this way. Okay, so I want my flower on the inside, so I'm just going to bring this in. So it's folded in half. Okay. Then your diagonal piece, we're going to fold it like a mountain. So this is going to come back. And I just like to make sure that my point down here is lined up. And really this, you don't necessarily would need to score it. I just like it because it just, you get a crisper fold with it, but you can actually just kind of guesstimate, you know, bringing it up to this corner and to that corner. Okay, so now that is our, basically this is our top, and then when we open it, it goes this way. All right, so now our second piece, which was that right side, that was that 4 1/4 by 5 1/8. We stamped on the one side. This flap we want to attach so it's underneath this, so that when you close it, the back side of it, you're going to see this little border. Okay, so you're going to put adhesive. So this is a valley fold. You're putting adhesive on this top part, and I like to use a liquid glue just to make sure it's held in place. Okay, so this is my inside. I'm just going to layer this right up here, and it's going to be butted up right to that score line so that the card can still fold. We'll just burnish it. And this comes in, and I just give this another little quick burnish. And now our card is assembled. So again, here's the front, and then we open it, and then you've got that little hidden door, and it goes to that trifold. So again, here, this you can leave it as is if you wanted to, and then just put your greeting here, or you can decorate. I mean, the ideas are endless. But remember, I had that 1-inch piece that was left over from our 4 by 12. This I'm going to attach right, so when you open up the card, it's going to be on this panel, right on that edge, on that one. And again, you can use either side, whatever you think looks best. I'm just going to do the opposite with that pretty peacock leaves showing. So this is going to go right on the edge. Dun-dun-dun, super cute. I love it. Okay. Now we get to do our decorating. All right, so I had die cut this, I had shown you, and then this is just one that I had die cut, you know, already from some cardstock that I embossed with the Gathering Leaves embossing folder. So again, I just embossed it, and then I die cut it out with that one. And this attaches right on top of that. So we're just going to use some liquid glue, just because this is got open pieces, so it's just easier to use a liquid glue when you're assembling. Yeah, I can't, oh my gosh, it's like November, like Thanksgiving is in a couple weeks. I feel like time is flying by, and I'm like, wow, wasn't it just like summer? And then today, oh my gosh, so we had a really long summer here in Minnesota, so we kind of had a short fall. And like today it's snowing. I'm like, oh God. And it's cold. It's like 20 degrees. Like, brr, not ready for that. Okay. So there's that. And then I am going to attach this. So it is kind of centered. It's kind of off, you know, a little bit on the top here. And you do want to pay attention. So like I said, it's going to start off being a portrait. And then when you open it, you know, it's going to be more of that landscape look. So you can decide, you know, how far down you want to put this, because you're only going to put glue on half of it. And I'm thinking on this one, I went up a little bit higher because I had that corner kind of matching. So I think I'll probably just do the same thing here. Okay, so we know all of this from here on up. Is going to get glue. Except for the little part that's kind of sticking out. That one I'm not going to put glue on. I'm just going to erase my pencil line. So again, I didn't put any glue on this little top part one, just because that would stick to that and then you wouldn't be able to open your card. Okay, so now that's attached. Love it. Okay, then I had, let's see here, I've got a bunch of other like die cut stuff because I was thinking for this one. So again, on this, I used the branching out dies. So I had done kind of a border. So I took, I believe it was I think it was like the fourth largest and the third. No, I take that back. It was, let's see here. Which one did I use? Yeah, the third large, no, actually, so I'm sorry, the second largest, and the third largest, because this was the other one. Yeah, to do that. And then I just kind of did that to cut out that center part, because that's what I had used on this one, was that size. So then I had this frame left over, so I'm just going to utilize the frame. Yeah, so these are kind of a nice, I like the shaped nesting dies for these with a little stitching on the edge. Okay, so what I was imagining was I was going to put my greeting more here, like so. And then I was just going to do another, I was just either going to stamp something. Then I could just flip it. Because here was the Cajun was behind, now I can just do the green. So I think I might just do that, and then I can do my saying in the peacock. Or I've got this too. This would be kind of cool. Maybe I should do that instead. I don't think I like that. Yeah, I think we'll just do the other one. We'll just keep it simple. Yeah. Okay. And I know I need for my saying, I need like a birthday. I'm just looking at what do I have here? So in the Foilage set, what does it have? For you always. Just kind of looking at what I want to do. You know, I might just do another Get Well, because I feel like those are ones that I need to have on hand. So we're going to do, we'll just do a little Get Well. So I'm just going to layer this on here. And this is that two-tone cardstock. This was the Petal Pink, I believe. So one side is lighter than the other. And then this was that basic beige, just normal cardstock. So again, when you do that layering, it doesn't get really bulky, which is kind of nice. And then I'm just going to do my saying in Pretty Peacock. We'll just do Get Well Soon. Oh, Linda. Well, I'll have to get out my marker. I'll fix that later. I think it good enough pressure. I'll fix it with my marker. Okay, but we will add a little bit of maybe some leaves. So I've got Mossy Meadow and I've got Cajun Craze. I think maybe we'll just do a little bit of the meadow. Yeah, maybe I just will just do my little Cajun Craze. We'll just bring in that color. Make sure I'm inked up all the way. All right, so there's that. And then on my back side of the card, I'll just attach this. And like I said, I'll fix that Get Well. I'll just use my marker. I'll put it back in the, or I'll redo it completely. We'll see. Or it'll just be my sample. Okay. So now you will, and it, to me, I don't mind seeing it, but you will kind of see this show through. So if you want to position it so that, you know, some of that stamped image isn't showing, just be aware of that. But I just want, yeah, I just want that little bit of that peach, that petal pink kind of showing through. Okay. And then on this side, we can just go ahead and, so this was actually the pattern paper, and I had just embossed it with that Gathering Leaves. And again, this is just one that was on that basic beige. I had stamped it previously in Cajun Craze, and I die cut it like I had shown you earlier. Yeah, a lot of times when I get a new stamp set dies. I basically just go through and I just die cut all the pieces just to see how they work. And then that way I know I've got, you know, my my endless supply of pre-cut die cut things. So, and to me, die cutting, it's relaxing. All right, smooth that out, and then we can go ahead and attach this to the inside. And again, if you want to put your sentiment there, you totally can. I'm just kind of, I wanted to do another die cut. All right, so then this comes in, that goes there. And then I'm going to put a couple little blingy items. I think I'm going to use these little Cajun Craze dots. And I believe these are an online exclusive. So we're going to use my pick tool just to push them off. Oh, before I do that, I want to stamp, because I forgot, I wanted to do on, so this is the back side of the card. I want to just stamp on this piece of cardstock here. And I just want to, I'm going to open this up so that I'm not, so I'm on a flat surface. And this is that little kind of row of leaves. And I'm just going to stamp these in crumb cake. And again, this could have been, you could have done all of this in linen if you wanted to. But I just thought these little row of leaves were kind of cute. It's like a little book spine. Excuse my head while I try and get in there. Stamp somewhat straight. Okay, so that's the back side. And then we're just going to take a couple, do little Cajun Craze, little gems, and then we'll put one up here. All right. So again, if you want to do, I don't know if I've got a strip in here. I don't think I do. Well, here I can show you, but it's probably too short. If you wanted to do like a little strip of cardstock, you know, and just kind of have it be like, say, a ½ inch, you could layer that like right behind there too if you wanted to. Because on my snowflake one, I had actually wrapped ribbon, you know, around it. You can do that too with your ribbon if you wanted to. But I was trying to keep this one fairly simple. All right, so there is the oh my gosh, the Twist Corner trifold on there. And again, if you wanted to do like another like image or something, you know, you want to be careful that, you know, if you put it somewhere that it's not going to show, you know, I mean, that's just my personal thing, but I'm keeping mine fairly simple this time around. All right. So that's that one. So just two different versions of how you're doing it with, you know, either the floral as your focal point or having that kind of more the solid pattern of the pattern paper. So it's a great way of using up your designer series paper on these two folds. Okay, so now let's go ahead and let's move on to our triangle twist squared one, which I don't know where my sample went. Oh, it's up here, I think. So now we're going to do this one. Well, not this card exactly, but we're going to do this fold. So again, this one's super easy. Again, it's just a 4x12 piece of cardstock scored at 4 and 8. So let's get started on this one. And on here, so instead of using cardstock, I am going to do the two-tone cardstock. So again, it's a little bit lighter, and there's one side is darker than the other. And I think on this one, I do want to have, my darker showing on there. So we're going to score again. We need our scoring tool. So this one, again, you're going to need 4 by 12. I probably should go through the pieces here. Sorry. So 4 by 12. And again, it can be cardstock, it can be designer series paper, it can be your two-tone cardstock, and we're going to score at 4 and 8. Then you're going to need 2 pieces, and I'm basically using the same pattern. I'm just using one for the top and one for the bottom. And these are both going to be 3 3/4 inch squared, and then you're just going to cut these in diagonally in half. And then for the middle part, for your sentiment, you will need, and again, this is totally optional. I'm doing again, this is that two-toned cardstock. I'm doing a 3 3/4 inch square as a mat. And then I'm doing my basic beige is going to be 3.5 by 3.5. So I've kind of got a little bit of weight because this is a little bit lighter with it. Otherwise, if I was doing a cardstock base, I would either do a two-tone cardstock for that center or designer series paper if it was like a light pattern. Or you could do cardstock again on it. Okay, so let's get our scoring done first. We're going to score at 4 and 8. And I want my dark on the outside. Okay, so we're going to score at 4 inches and 8 inches. Then what you want to do is you are going to then take that top corner and you're going to score diagonally down to the lower left-hand corner. So I'm starting with my left side here. So I'm going to take this, it's going to go right into my score line on my cutting board. And then I'm going to twist this so that my corner is also lined up. And then I'm going to score diagonally. Okay. And then you're going to do that same direction, but now we're going to go from the bottom up to that top right corner. So just make sure your score lines are going somewhat together, parallel, I guess, somewhat parallel, diagonally parallel, or whatever. All right, so corner down to that score line. So then you've got diagonal, diagonal, and then these are the perpendicular ones. And that is it for the scoring. Okay, and now our paper, you want to, again, these were both 3 3/4 inch squares. And we're going to just cut these diagonally, and I'm going to cut both of these together. Let's see, so I'm just looking at my pattern. I think I want my, this closes that way. I think I want it this way. So I want my cut to go from the top right to the top left. And then my back side, well, it doesn't really matter, so I'm gonna cut these together. So again, you're gonna cut point to point, and you wanna make sure when you're cutting diagonally that you're gonna start in the center so that your blade doesn't catch on those tips, and then lift it up, put it back in the center, and then go up the other way. So that way you're cutting through both pieces of your designer series paper. And then that is it for the cutting and scoring. So now let's go ahead and fold on these. So I'm going to bring these in as a valley fold first. This will be a valley. And then those diagonals become the mountain. And again, just make sure you're getting those corners lined up. Okay, and then this then becomes that mountain fold. So again, we'll just bring that back. And then if you're, center, if they're not meeting, you can always just kind of force it into place by refolding it again. But I think these are somewhat close, so we'll just give it a little burnish there. Okay, so then that's your top. Cute. Love it. Okay, so we have our 3 3/4 inch squares. So one, let's see here. So as I cut these, I wanted to, that's my top. So we're going to go ahead and attach these onto the front flaps. Yeah, so another super easy kind of fun card to do that uses up your pattern paper. So stop hoarding it and use it. All right, so now that's our front. Then open it up. These other pieces that we had cut, I wanted to use the back side. So the bottom one becomes my left side and the top one becomes my right side. So we'll go ahead and attach these on. And this pattern paper, this was the online exclusive. This is that gathering moments, gathering life, gathering whatever it is, gathering together. I've used it in several of my videos. It's just really pretty fall paper. And it's still November, so I can still use fall. Can't do the Christmas cards yet, quite yet. I mean, I did one, but I just wasn't in the mood. Fall is my favorite season. Love the colors. Always my favorite stamp sets. I like trees. I like leaves. Okay, so there's our front. We open it up. Super fun. Okay, so again, because I was using that two-tone cardstock, I need a little bit of stability in that center part. So again, this is where I had another two-tone cardstock. This is Cajun Craze. So I'm going to do, that was a 3 3/4 inch square. So I'm just going to layer that on the center as a mat. And then this was 3.5 by 3.5, and this is just that basic beige. But before I put that on, I will stamp an image. And I think I do want to get my Gathering Moments set or my pumpkin set, just because I think looking for my sayings here. Yeah, I think I will use the Gathering Moments saying, because I think I need one more Thanksgiving card, which I've got to get in the mail tomorrow. Was that going to fit on there? No, that won't. One size bigger. And this, I think we'll just stamp it in. early espresso, so we'll do that in espresso. And expressing heartfelt gratitude. So, and then I'm just going to tie in, I'm just going to do a couple little, maybe I'll do those in, yeah, we'll just do that in Cajun Craze. We'll just do a little, one of the little leaves. I just think this set is so cute. Let's do one in the corner. And again, if you wanted to decorate these, you totally can. Now again, remember it's going to go from the portrait to the landscape, so kind of keep that in mind. And I am going to do on the front here. Oh, do I have one already die cut? I hope I do. Or did I use it? Well, bummer. I had a brown one. Hold on. Oh yeah, here it is. I'm like, I know I cut it already. Okay, so on this one, I took, again, it was the pattern paper, and I just die cut, you know, the outline image, and then I stamped this in that basic beige, and I did that same thing where I showed you where you did both the outline and then that inner part, cutting them together. And that's going to be then layered onto the designer series paper. And then because this is going to kind of show a little bit in the background, which I may need to die cut one more. Yes, I do. Because I don't have, or if I did that. No, I don't like that. Okay, I'm going to die cut one more just because it's going to show, and it doesn't, the pattern, the paper doesn't match. So I'm going to die cut one more of these, and I'm just going to do it in probably just the Cajun Crate. So let me real quick die cut that. Or vanilla, whatever I got in my scrap drawer here. Okay, so I just cut one more of those. And then we'll attach this onto it. That way you just don't see this background. And it gives it a little bit more stability too. Because it's going to be offset. It's not going to be... Okay, and then this can get layered onto it. And again, I had done the early espresso ink onto the basic beige for my cardstock, and then the ink. Just give that a quick burnish. Cute. Okay, so it's going to go this way and then that way. Keeping it fairly simple for a Linda card, like So then we just want to make sure when we go to attach this that we're only going to put glue on that top part. So I always just like to take my pencil and just give myself a guiding mark so that I know everything up here. And this can all be glue then. Oops. Just make sure I'm straight. Okay, we'll just give that a quick burnish. Cute! How simple is that? Okay, let me look here. Do I need, I feel like I need some gems. Let's do, maybe we'll just use these up. We'll just do these same ones again. Want to do kind of a triangle when you're working with gems. So large, next size, and then the tiniest ones, just to kind of get that balance. Super fun. I love it. Okay, so there you go. 2 folds in one video. Yay me. All right, so that is it. Oh, I was going to show you. There are some other ones that I'm going to be featuring here pretty soon. So again, this was that triangle twist square fun fold. And then we had our triangle corner trifold. And then there's also that triangle twist that I had shown in my previous video from last week. That was another, or I'm sorry, triangle trifold. Oh my God, too many triangles, too many trifolds. There. All right. And then the other ones that are going to be coming up is the hidden, oh my gosh, what is this one called? So it's another trifold. I'm all about trifolds right now. Trifold hidden door. And this one's been around for a while, but I finally have gotten around to kind of playing around with it. I had done, if you look into my Stampin' with the VIP Houndz, I had a request from one of my coworkers. One of our board members loved Cat in the Hat, and he's not doing well or whatever, and so they wanted to send a get well card. And so I had to come up with a Cat in the Hat card. So I actually had to print something off and die cut, or fussy cut it and stuff. But I had done this fold using that with that Cat in the Hat. So it turned out pretty cute. But this one, so again, so it's kind of, it's got, like that trifold, and then here is your hidden door that just flops open. And again, this is another great way of using up your 6x6. So this is featuring some of the, oh my gosh, what is this called? Beautiful Gallery Designer Series paper. It has just some really gorgeous scenery, floral, and then there's like some masculine, there's like some sea, kind of like some town, wooded area. It's really cool. I actually used it on my other, this was a sheet from it, kind of that background with it. So it's got some really neat papers. But again, this one, I had done the cardstock, but then my trifold part, I had to keep it so it wasn't so bulky. I did that 2-tone cardstock for it, and then this was just all the Designer Series paper. So I will be doing a video on how to do that fold. But again, this was kind of that I did some Charming Day. I just needed some sympathy cards just to have on hand. And then this was another one using that same gallery paper. And then I had done the beautiful brown, what is it called? Prairie grass? Prairie grass. This is another online exclusive. Love this set. And I had done a little bit of masking to make my moon. That's why I kind of did that. I just had cut a circle and just kind of did some dice cutting. And then I did some sponging on the two-tone crumb cake cardstock. So again, this one, same thing. And here, if you notice, I adjusted the width of my, basically the trifold part. So you can adjust, you know, how wide you want this piece to be, because I needed to be able to fit that prairie grass in there. So I'll show you, in the video, I'll do both of the measurements and stuff on there for you. And again, here is, I'm just using that pattern paper. And then there is the hidden door. And then just kind of keeping that saying on there. So just a really, it's a cool, and it's not too bulky with it. Now here, because I did do the cardstock, it's a little bit thicker than this one. So I would recommend maybe kind of sticking with that two-tone cardstock, just because you are getting, you know, you're folding it up quite a bit on there. But so that's going to be an upcoming tutorial. So stay tuned for that. That'll be next weekend, because I won't be able to get to it during the work week, because I work a real full-time job in the office on it. So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a great and creative day, and I will stamp again with you soon. Bye-bye.